Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to the videos. Another paid request, this time for Jonathan. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both things are down below in the info box. And excuse my stomach for rumbling. I just talked about Welcome to Raccoon City, and it's upset, and it's mad at me. So it's going to try to disrupt my talking throughout this, but just tell it like I do. Tell it to shut up. But Jonathan, like I said, for anyone who wants to request any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. I will get to them as soon as I can. I know I said that twice because I'm stupid. But Jonathan wanted me to talk about my top 3 favorite Thomas Jane films or roles. I'm like, well, that's easy because I like Thomas Jane, but Sally, you look at his filmography, he has not picked the best of movies, or it just he has been offered the best of movies. Like, you did him for The Predator, but you did him as a guy with Tourette syndrome telling or saying really bad lines for humor. Like, fuck me with an aardvark. That's how you use Thomas Jane in a Predator movie? Congrats, Shane Black and Fred Decker. Okay. I would say that's his worst role I've seen him play, but the best, real quick light, which I'll get more in depth into it, Frank Castle the Punisher, Carter in Deep Blue Sea, and I would say Malone in Give 'Em Hell Malone. Those are my top 3. The Punisher, I really enjoyed. I saw it in the theater. It was a great time. Now, my personal favorite will always be the Dolph Lundgren Punisher. What the fuck do you call 125 murders in 5 years? Work in progress. I love Dolph Lundgren's The Punisher. I love that movie. But this is, I thought, a really good Punisher film. Frank Castle, I think Thomas Jane played him perfectly. I think with the monologue of his war journals, his look, his stature, his voice, he should have had a full franchise. There was talks of a sequel, but he didn't like the script. And then once I saw Punisher Warzone, I don't blame him for not liking the script. If that's what it was going to be, I don't blame him for it. The best he did is Dirty Laundry, which you can find on YouTube, which is a short film, which has Thomas Jane and Ron Perlman in it, and it's a little sequel to The Punisher, because you find out he's playing The Punisher. I wish we could have had another Thomas Jane Punisher film, but I love the music. The music has this almost Ennio Morricone vibe to it, like Italian vibe to it, but it works very well. Ennio Morricone or Godfather, it has a nice different vibe to an action revenge movie. I thought that really helped elevate it. There's not as much action as I wished. I would like to have seen more, but it would have been a nice stepping stone to see more in a sequel. I like the backdrop of showing what happened to his family. I thought some of it was pretty well staged. The image of him holding his family and then the shotgun and the camera following him as he's making his last stand. The T-shirt and finding the T-shirt with the Punisher logo and deciding to use that. It had almost this modern Western feel to it. Go with God. God's going to sit this one out. And it has moments that just felt simple but satisfying. The bow and arrow stuff. Him getting the knife under the guy's chin, you see it glimmering inside his mouth. Getting the paper cutter and slamming into the guy's head. I've even warmed up to the fight yes with Kevin Nash because I thought, okay, this is a bit silly with the music going do 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 do. But here, it made it feel a bit different compared to other fights, and it was nice to have Kevin Nash in there. And I also know it's a reference to a comic book because it was featured in a comic book. I think that's why Kevin Nash is in the outfit, because I think it's the same outfit the bad guy had in the comic, the Russian. And it's a nice brutal fight where he's being thrown through walls and the gun gets fucked up and he looks at it and he's bleeding. And nice brutal fight that's not comic book superhero superpower shit that we get nowadays. Too many nowadays. John Travolta, I like John Travolta. It's always nice to see John Travolta there. I love I like him as an actor. I loved films like Broken Arrow and many others throughout the years. So it was nice to see Travolta in there. Roy Scheider, he's in it for sadly not too long. I think it's one of the last films he did, but always great to see Roy Scheider. Been a fan of his since Jaws and Blue Thunder. May he rest in peace. It's a very satisfying film. Even the bit with the guitar player assassin, and he did a bit of car action sequence. Even the way it ends, where it's no overdone music. It's him giving this monologue. Call me the Punisher. And it fades out and it's silent. Then you go to the soundtrack. And there's some fun songs in the soundtrack as well. If you want to step up, step up. Or When I'm Broken. Ba-da-da-da-da. So, great score. Some cool songs. Thomas Jane really fit that serious persona. I liked his vibe. I liked Thomas Jane's acting style. I think he's a guy that should have been utilized a lot more. And yeah, I really enjoy his Punisher film. And number 2, I put Deep Blue Sea. I think I did see that in the theater back in the day. While yes, some of the CGI does not hold up at all. Like Sam Jackson's death scene, that's some bad CGI. But there's also some pretty good shark effects as well. There's some pretty solid, competent action sequences directed by Rennie Harlan, who is one of my favorite directors because I looked at his filmography. Prison, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, Die Hard 2, Adventures of Fort Fairlane, Cliffhanger, Mindhunters, this film, even Skip Trace with Jackie Chan. I did not love all of his films. I'm not a big Cutthroat Island fan. Love The Long Kiss Goodnight. But I'm not big on... He did a found footage film that wasn't big on. I forget the name of it. What was it? The Covenant. So there's some of his I don't care for, but there's a lot more that I do. I think he's an underrated director because people give him shit. I'm like, I don't know. I love Cliffhanger and Die Hard 2 and Long Kiss Goodnight and Deep Blue Sea. I think he's pretty badass. And that I like Thomas Jane's character of Carter. He's a guy that's there to rustle and hustle, wrangle the sharks, but he's not told. He's told to shut up because he has this criminal background, so that's why he was made to shut up. Otherwise he would have been asking questions. He doesn't find it until afterward they're doing these experiments on these sharks, and this is why people are dying. And after I felt sorry for him. I wouldn't say I could relate to him, but I felt sorry, and I felt his predicament of... I don't remember if they give a backstory as to what happened, why he got arrested. They might have, but it's been a while since I've seen Deep Blue Sea. I actually like to see that again. They say it's been a while. As the song says, it's been a while. But I remember like his had a kind of down-to-earth, matter-of-fact personality. And he's a guy that would get the stuff done, and you could tell that people, they didn't call him the leader, but they looked at him as a guy to hopefully lead them out of there. Very competent in his actions, trying to do the best that he can, and when there's fear, he showcases fear. And I'm like, that was the first time I ever saw Thomas Jane in. I didn't know who he was. As I watched, go, this guy works. Like, this guy reminds me of action stars of the 80s. Had just that factor, that it factor for me. I even like LL Cool J. You kill my bird, and that's some pretty cool action. He throws the lighter, the explosion. Like I said, he did some sharks going around the corridors of this underwater facility. Well, some of it's underwater. There's some pretty good action set pieces. The helicopter that's trying to rescue them and it crashes in because of certain things, and the big explosion. Like I said, there's some very wonky CGI, but it's a very fun, solid creature feature. To me, it's the second best shark film after Jaws, easily. And number 3, I put Give 'Em Hell Malone. It's been a while since I've seen this, but it's directed by Russell Mulcahy, who did Highlander. He did Resurrection with Christopher Lambert. I think he did Razorback. It's sort of it's an action film. It's a film noir, so it's a little bit like Bruce Willis's Last Man Standing, but in that the hat, the attire at the time, trying to be in that era, trying to be film noir. Uh, I remember the first action scene being bonkers and violent, but in a way, that's one of the flaws it has on it, where it kind of shot its load, as they would say, as anyone would say, too early. Where the first scene is the best scene in the movie because he plays a guy who gets fucked over. He's got to shoot all these bad guys trying to kill him, and then he's got to find out who betrayed him. And you get your femme fatales, and you get your steezy guys. Doug Hutchinson, who played Squeeze, and he played Eugene Victor Toombs. Was it Eugene? It was his last name was Toombs, and Squeeze and Toombs, a two-part X-Files episode. He was also in The Green Mile. He plays a very steezy guy in it. And I thought Thomas Jane fit that role well. The whole detective badass has a bit of a sense of humor to it, and I wish it would have gotten a sequel. Sally did not. I think Ving Rhames is in the film as well. So I'm not giving more detail because it's been a while since I've seen it, but you know what? I remember liking that film. Because I looked into stuff, and there are others I don't mind. Standoff with him and Lawrence Fishburne. That was pretty decent. Run, Hide, Fight, where it's about Thomas Jane plays the father of this girl. There's a school shooting, but also becomes a bit of Die Hard, and she's got to fight and kick their asses. Which I know people are like, oh my god, they made a movie like that, but it was pretty decent. I thought it was a pretty decent film. Thomas Jane did a nice job as the dad, who taught her what she knew. Thursday, I didn't mind that. That's with him and Aaron Eckhart. That plays a bit like a... It's mostly in one location, and it's very dialogue heavy, but it's trying to be a bit of that Tarantino-esque vibe to it. And I did enjoy it. I know Skip Woods made it. That did a lot of bad shit afterwards. He wrote the script for X-Men Origins Wolverine, a lot of other shitty movies, but I don't know, that was like his one good note was Thursday. Again, Thomas Jane stars. I like those two actors. It was nice to see them in there. So, Jonathan, if you like Thomas Jane, I would definitely recommend Standoff, Thursday, and he doesn't have a big role in Run, Hide, Fight, but he's still decent in it. And also Give Him Hell Alone if you haven't seen it. But yeah, The Punisher, Deep Blue Sea, and Give Him Hell Alone are definitely my top 3 Thomas Jane films and roles. This again, like The Mist, I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of the effects in that. I think, Frank Darabont, it seemed like he would know better to use these really cheap-looking effects. I don't care. I know why and the Stephen King novel is based on, or story I should say is based on. I know it, but I don't care for the bit religious lady. Just got on my nerves, and I know that's the point, but just really, we have to do this in it. The ending, not big on. I applaud it being shocking and gutsy, but doesn't really make the film rewatchable for me. And I said that, and then the religious lady being annoying. I know she's the antagonist, but I feel so annoyed. I'm like, I don't want to watch her anymore. It's not that the actress is a bad actress, just, I don't know. I'm like, do we have to go with the whole religious angle on this? Do we have to? Really? Okay. I'd rather have just be as typical as it. That's typical as well. I'd rather go with the other typical. A Someone Breathes at 13, they close in on the store, the numbers are dwindling. But, I mean, if that's not the story, then that's Stephen King wrote. That's not the story Stephen King wrote. But I'm just saying that's what I would prefer. The Moon Chronicles was an awful movie. It looked awful. The story was blah. I mean, maybe the source material was a lot better, but the movie itself looked very, very cheap and very, very ugly. And the filters and the effects they used. Mutant Chronicles was very lame. He did a few films with Bruce Willis, Vice being one of them. lackluster direct-to-video movie. He was wasted in that. There's another Stephen King one that was okay. I think it was 1922 or something. Which time? If I go into that, it'd be spoiling it. I guess if you want to look that up, feel free. Like I said, I definitely would choose The Punisher, Deep Blue Sea, and Leave 'Em Home Alone. That's just me, though. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.